Hello everyone and welcome to the STPL. I am Kix, your host, organizer and caster of this tournament here, and you are tuning in to yet another edition of the STPL. We're on week 4 even, round 2. I meant to do that the other way around, but either way, it's all good. So, my camera's in a little bit of a weird place compared to normal, but it should be fine. Hopefully I still look okay. But welcome everyone, hopefully you're having a good evening, afternoon, morning or whatever, wherever you are. There's a couple of there's one new thing I want to show off today. I finally fixed something that I was doing ages ago, and it was broken and I couldn't figure out why. And today, thank you to the help of Des on the Foreign Brood War Discord, I finally fixed it. But yeah, so let's actually have a look at what's going on. And let's show off these new things. So, to start us off, I'm going to show off a couple of screens that I don't normally show off as often, but we're going to have a look at the table and the player table of round 2 so far, so let's see how we're looking. Okay, so this is the table so far for round 2. You can see the White Clan nestled at the top of the table. They're at the top of their group, of course. Soul Gaming, currently the top of the other group as well. They're 2-0. Red very close behind in that group too. They're actually 2-0 as well. I think they're in group A. Net Wars doing really well in their group as well. They're 2-1. And Naz, a 9th team, on 2-1 as well. And you can see the difference is actually Net Wars has one less loss than Naz does. And 9th team just a little bit further behind. They have less wins and more losses, which is why they're further back. But Media, IRK, DM, Psystorm, Clan Revolution, Ash, and Bull still doing well as well. Bull, unfortunately, the bottom team this round so far, but they have a few more weeks to go. It's going to be hard for them to fight their way into the playoffs, I would say, especially with the top teams doing so well. But of course, if you are joining us for the first time, the top 2 teams from either group will go through to the playoffs for that round. And currently, they're the standings. So, the screen I finally fixed, which has been a long time coming, is going to be the player table. So let's have a look at the top 10 so far in round 2. So, as you can see in that top spot, Yeti doing an incredible job for Naz, 3-0. Terra just behind him with 3-1. Terra's of course been sent out for more games. We did get that loss, which is why he ranked a little bit lower. You can see that Terra was actually sent out in 2 ace matches, or sorry, in 1 ace match. He did win his ace match. And everyone else sort of clustered together. A lot of people on 2-0 at the moment. You can see that Ho for White, his second win, did come from the ace match, so he looks pretty good as well. But the top 10 so far looking pretty good. Like Ku doing a really good job getting up there. The other players a little bit more likely to see them there. Dodeby doing an incredible job for DM this round, and I believe he was meant to be playing today. But he actually got subbed out, so we're not going to see Dodeby today. But either way, let's introduce our matchup for today. Okay, so today, playing for us, playing for your entertainment, is going to be Micromedia, Artosa's clan, versus DM. Now, Media, as we did see from the table before, are currently 1-1 in this round. They were new to the STPL of this round, so they don't actually have any stats from before, but you can see the Terrans doing pretty well. Zerg not doing as well, but Protoss doing an incredible job for them so far. And DM currently 1-2. They're going to be looking to try and make their way into that playoffs again. They did make it into the round 1 playoffs through Group A, but they're going to have to climb up a little bit higher. Of course, they did go 4 wins, 4 losses last time. 2 of those losses were actually from the playoffs, so they went 4-2 and then lost their 2 playoff games, unfortunately. But still, this round, 1-2. Their players doing a good job. Zerg and Protoss kind of struggling a little bit this time. Tech not doing as good as a job as he did last round, but he should have his chance. Oh man, I need to update the title. Thank you, I forgot. I was running late even. So hold on. So it's week 4. Yeah, but either way, the players are doing pretty good. and it should be good to see how they're going to do here against each other, because we are going to see, I believe, Tech. He usually comes out for the DM lineup. So hopefully the stream titles update and everything now, that may make it a little bit better. Should be getting a few more viewers in from that as well, because the ladder thing, no one really wants to watch me ladder. But let's have a look at the maps we're going to be seeing today. If you haven't followed week 4 so far, set 1 will be on New Sniper Ridge, set 2 on Hitchhiker, set 3 on New Electric Circuit, set 4 Neo Aztec, and if we make it to it, the ace match will be on Return of the King. And let's have a look at our matchups for today. It's going to be, to start us off, Machine versus Tech. Following that, we'll have Gypsy versus PRL, Naokan versus Yaj, and Future versus Defiler. And now, of course, if we do go to a score of 2-2, we will head on to that ace match. Now, the ace players are completely hidden from me. I don't know who they are. I don't know if we've even made it to an ace match, because there's a spoiler folder in the replay folder, so it should be cool if we get there. But of course, we've got 4 games to go before that, and let's actually introduce our first players. Okay, so fighting for media, we're going to have Machine. Now, Machine doing a brilliant job so far. His win last week was very, very good. His 2 losses were against Terra, which honestly, you can't really blame him. Terra is a very, very good player. And Machine, of course, a little bit rusty, only just coming back. Mainly does his work for Twitch now, I believe. I think he's still working at Twitch. He streams a lot of ladder himself. So if you do want to check him out, please do feel free to do that. Of course, he is 1 for 2 at the moment. He is going to be looking to make that 2 for 2. And his opponent standing in the way is going to be fighting for DM. It's going to be Tech. Now, last round I did call him the ultimate ace player, because without fail, every single ace match, Tech would come out and he would win every single time. So, of course, he did go 7 for 5 last round, so he didn't have a perfect record like Famasi did, but still doing a great, great job. This round, not shown the same level of skill as we saw last time. But it is going to be kind of cool to see him again. 0 for 3. He's going to try and make that 1 for 3 and see if he can put his name back on that all-important players table, as he does look to improve a little bit throughout the round, I would say, and throughout the entire tournament. He was a really great player in round 1, so it's going to be kind of hard here for Machine to do this. Now, we do see that the Tech is on a 2 for 2 win-loss ratio against Zerg, so maybe not as one-sided as some of the matchups we've seen have been. Some players have been insanely good at one matchup, and then some poor person gets sent out against them. But Machine is no joke. Tech is no joke himself. And let's have a look at what map they're going to be playing on. So it's going to be New Sniper Ridge, 4 corners. It wasn't actually ported over to StarCraft 2 because people said it looked like a swastika, and therefore it couldn't be played in a tournament, which is fine, I guess. There's not really too much you can say about that. I mean, it does look like a Hindu swastika, but either way, gas spaces for the thirds, quite close, quite easy to defend as well up a small ramp. And the high ground ramps all over the map, just splitting everything up, giving little bits of high ground, very similar. I think this whole sort of map design thing was spawned with Heartbreak Ridge. So either way, gonna be a great game here, and hopefully we should see a good matchup as well. So let's head on over to the game, and let's get started with our first game of the STPL today. And starting us over here on the top right hand position, 2 o'clock, we do have the dark blue Protoss. It's gonna be Tech. Now his opponent down here in the bottom right is going to be the Meteor Zerg. In the teal, it's Machine. So one thing to note about this map, it's quite easy for the Protoss player to take his natural. Quite a nice wall off is possible here. We can see that it's likely going to be a Forge Fast expand for Tech. He's immediately sending his probe to scout. And this is going to give him a little bit of an advantage. Now, of course, this is a rotationally symmetric map, so it's not completely symmetrical. Very similar to the way Fighting Spirit works, and I must admit when I'm playing this map, sometimes I forget where the ramp is, just because I assume it's going to be in the Fighting Spirit locations. We're going to have a 9 pool coming up here by Machine. Now, could this be a reaction to something you've seen Tech do in the past, or is he going to try and punish any form of early Nexus? We'll have to see. But either way, we should have that Forge coming up, although he has waited a little bit longer. Could be a Gateway. Nope, it is going to be a Forge. So he's going to be fairly safe against this 9 pool. He is going to scout this incredibly quickly as well. So he is going to be feeling pretty good about himself. And looks like we're going to have the probe just denying this hatchery as long as it possibly can. Just being annoying as possible as well. Now a probe does kill a drone in a fight of fists, and that's exactly what we saw there. But a second drone should be able to clean this up. Tech's going to have to pull the probe away if he wants to keep it alive. And in that instant, Machine immediately puts down his hatchery. Now, this did delay Tech's scout quite a bit. He's only now going to see there was a 9 pool. That is going to be a little bit risky, but back at home, he's already got his first cannon coming up. He's going to have to add a second cannon as well. But his Nexus, of course, coming up pretty early too. And Machine looks like he's going to be a bit cheeky. Looks like he's going to go for more of the old school version of Zerg, which was really popularized by Savior back in like 2008, 2009. Where you take the other natural as your third, and then you go from there. But it looks like maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, as he is going to pull it back. He does, of course, know where his opponent isn't now, so these lings are going to be able to go in the right direction. Now, Tech only has 1 cannon and only 1 probe here. Now, this isn't that many lings, but he does need to be very careful. He should probably pull at least 1 more probe just to try and block. The worst thing that could possibly happen is if Speed was to finish. Luckily enough for him, Speed isn't coming along, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But still, should be kind of crazy. Now, I've actually got to turn the minimap on. I do apologize. I think that may have been on before, but I alt-tab quickly. Luckily enough, when I alt-tab, I'm not on monitor capture, so unlike when Zero does it, it cuts off the game. Hopefully it's not too bad here. I was just making sure that the chat was all working and everything, just in case anyone needs to point anything out that I may have missed. Kind of important when you're solo casting, just to keep an eye on what's going on. Of course, the main focus is going to be on the game, but I'm looking forward to this series. We've had a lot of really interesting matchups. There's been quite a few that have been quite one-sided recently, but DM and Media both have a good range of skills on their team rosters, and we should have a fairly close matchup here. Now, of course, DM, the veterans of the STPL, they did play in round 1, and Media, the newcomers, of course, in retrospect, obviously. But still, it should be quite a close matchup. Machine hasn't played in many tournaments recently, of course. Media signed up at the beginning of round 2, and I was quite happy about it because it's cool to see some of these older players coming back to play. Now, unfortunately, In Control and Artosis haven't played yet, but they are on the roster. I think Artosis mainly doesn't play because the game time's about midnight for him, and In Control has just been traveling everywhere. But hopefully, by the end of round 2, we might see them play. But still, the players we've got to see have been an absolute treat. Of course, Machine doing a great job in the SCPL so far, and opting to take that closer third instead. This is more of a modern style in ZVP. It allows you to be a little bit more aggressive. You don't have to worry about spreading your defenses too much. And Tech is immediately going into +1 air upgrade, air attack upgrade even. So he's going to be going for those Corsairs, going to be wanting to build up that Corsair count. Now, Machine, I believe, actually went Spire last time or went Mutalisk, so looks like he may be going for that again. Of course, this could just be for Scourge to deal with any Corsairs. His Overlord's going to see that there is +1 attack going on this as well. Of course, he can't assume that it's not range, but very unlikely to be range at this stage of the game. And he does see the Citadel going up as well, so he knows exactly what Tech's doing, doesn't need to worry too much about DTs for now. It's going to be at least a minute or so, maybe a couple of minutes before any DTs come out from the Templar Archives, but that's likely what we're going to see Tech doing, possibly just going immediately into Storm, just to make sure that he can survive against any Hydra Bust. Now of course this is the first scout that we're going to see from Tech in quite a while, so he's going to feel pretty safe once he knows what's going on. He's going to see the additional hatchery. He should see the Spire, but he does of course need to be careful. If some Scourge pop out, they could get this Corsair pretty quickly. It does take 2 Scourge to kill a Corsair, just in case you don't already know that. And oh my god, he needs to pull this away immediately, and there we go. Pulls away at the last possible second. That will give his Corsair a chance to escape. But these Scourge are going to be very, very annoying. Of course, when you're going for this +1 Corsair style, sometimes you do see a second Stargate. We're not going to see that here. And interestingly, we don't actually see a Templar Archives yet either. So it is just going to be for +1 Zealots, maybe building the Templar Archives up here now. But of course he does need to be careful, can't afford to lose these Corsairs. They are a commodity that you want to pull up. And there we go, the Templar Archives coming in at the last possible second there in between those two bases. Now Tech, of course, as he builds up his Corsair count, it's going to make it a little bit harder for the Scourge to start to connect if Tech does go for some good micro. Now we do finally have Hydralisks on the way, and this is when things start getting a little bit hairy for the Corsair player. Of course you do have to worry about getting those sniped by not only Scourge, the Hydralisks on the ground as well, and you also have to make sure that you don't get caught off guard by a Hydra Bust, and that's why Templar Archives is the next logical step with this build. You'll see him get Storm almost immediately. I would say we should see that coming in very shortly, as soon as he gets the money too. Very important you start that as soon as possible. And I say that and his money's going up and he's not getting Templar Storm even. So this could actually be for DTs. Oh no, there we go. There's Storm. Just a little bit delayed. He is microing his Corsairs around, so he needs to be careful. Can't afford to lose this. Actually loses 2 Corsairs, and that's a huge loss. That's a big investment of not only time but also money. And here we go, the Zealot's going to come in, going to try and soak up some of these Hydros hits, maybe try and get some damage, but he realizes there's too much. He tries to retreat, but there's some Hydras in the way as well. And Machine doing a very good job actually taking out some of those Zealots. He does lose 2 Hydralisks, but not the biggest of deals. It looks like the final Corsairs actually went down, and that's a bigger deal than anything right now. Now it looks like Tech tried to get a hatchery a Nexus over here, but didn't quite work out. Storm isn't done yet, and this is a hell of a lot of Hydralisks moving towards his natural choke. You can see the cannon response immediately. He's going to have to use his Zealots to buy time. But the trouble is that the Hydralisks are going to get a high ground position above his natural, and if he starts morphing Lurkers here, he can set up a very powerful contain. The cannon's about to finish, but this Forge and the Gateway gonna go down most likely. The Hydra's trying to get on top of the cannons. Are they going to be able to do it? They're getting into the choke. The Zealots not blocking very well at the moment. The Hydralisk breaking through. Can they actually break through all these cannons? We don't have enough energy on these High Templar for Storm yet. This is a lot of cannons though still. 3 cannons do remain. The probes have been pulled, and it looks like he may be able to hold for now, but he's gonna lose his Forge. Does he have a backup Forge? No, he doesn't. So the second this goes down, he can't add any more cannons. A nice Storm gonna push away the remaining Hydralisks, but still he's in a very awkward position. His pylon here is gonna go down. He's going to lose his front gateway, and more Hydralisks are coming in from the back to try and seal the deal here for Machine. It's going to be very difficult for him to push in against this Storm now, but he's going to try. He's at least going to set up a contain, and he needs to be careful. The Templar are actually getting stuck behind themselves, which does allow him to move back, build these Lurkers, set up that contain, and you can already see Machine is just continuing adding on so many units. Let's have a look at his drone saturation. His drone saturation is natural, third and main, very strong at the moment. Maybe could do with 1 or 2 more drones, I think, in his main. That should be fine. Going into an Evo chamber. He's up at 5 hatcheries now, should be seeing the 6th, there we go. Interestingly, he's expanding towards the push path of the Protoss. Now, of course, this is in his push path as well. As he moves up through the quadrants of the map, he's able to sort of get past and help defend it by setting up this contain. He doesn't have to worry too much about any shuttles and things like that. And here we go, looks like the Hydra's going to finally clear up these 2 Zealots that have been hold positioned here for quite a while. Now, Machine needs to be very careful. He has got a great position. It's going to be very, very difficult for Tech to break out of this. But Tech, with good storms and good unit control, should be able to break out eventually. Now, we've got 6 gateways, 7 gateways now for Tech. He did add a couple of extra Corsairs. Looks like it was just 1 to finish that off. We have the 4th base finishing up here for Machine. Tech still knocked down on 2. But still... things are going to get a little bit more static here. We will see Machine trying to build up his economy even more, trying to continue to build up this contain. But eventually he's going to have to be careful now. It looks like an Overlord has been caught, so this Corsair isn't for naught. It does have a +1 attack, so going to be able to do something. And this Zealot is going to scar this 4th base as well. Do we have a Robo on the way yet? No, we do not, but the Citadel is actually blocking 2 of these gateways, so he does kill that. Now, I don't believe he actually needs a Citadel anymore, so it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. But if he does need to rebuild his Templar Archives, of course, he is going to need to rebuild it. Now, the Observers are in play. But with this, he's going to be able to start storming. Great usage of those storms there to take down 2 of those units. Oh, great snipe there by that Zealot, dragging some of the Hydralisks in. That's a bit of a mistake by Machine, not having them on hold position and losing a lot of Hydralisks for free. But here we go, it looks like he wants to try and bust. This is a very, very dangerous decision, but could it be good enough? There's a huge storm on top of all of the Hydralisks, and it looks like Machine maybe misread the situation and is forced to retreat. He's lost a lot of his front lurkers. And this contain has just got a lot weaker. And this is going to be a big problem for Machine as he moves forward. Tech is going to be able to pounce soon. And that looks like what he wants to do is go right away. His Dragoons, of course, getting stuck on all these cannons. Not really too much he can do. But still a big swell of units coming in from behind. +1 Carapace is done now for Machine. We should have +2 attack very soon for Tech. Yes, we do. And there we go, it looks like Machine has been able to rebuild his lurkers. He is going to spread them out quite nicely. Going to put a lurker up here, but it looks like we do have Tech. He wants to try and bust. He knows he's going to fall behind if he sits in his base too long. That actually happened to him before. And here we go, he breaks through a lot of the links, gets a nice storm on top of the Hydralisk. Really great storm so far by Tech. Great usage of everything here. Now it looks like we will have the Dragoons able to break out. They're going to be able to break through all of these lurkers now. I believe Dragoons actually outrange lurkers by 1, possibly. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, he should be able to bust this now. Looks like maybe they don't outrange them. I'm incorrect, but he is going to bust. It looks like he doesn't want to kill the lurkers for some reason. He's going to go around, and this is going to force a reaction from Machine. He's going to pull his units back. Now, the trouble is he lost a lot of units in that push-in for some reason. And with his contain getting broken like this, he's lost his edge on this map. Now, of course, by Tech moving down this way, he's going to secure this area, going to take his 3rd base as soon as he possibly can. And it looks like Tech is finally the one with the initiative. He's going to go for this counterattack. There's only 1 Spore, 3 Sunkens, and 2 Lurkers, 3 Lurkers even, trying to defend this, but there is a Nidus Canal coming in. Is this going to finish in time? Can he get some units here to defend from his main? Tech doing an incredible job. The Nidus Canal finishes, but is any units going to be able to break out? A lot of Lurkers just come through that canal. Drones sitting on the Nidus as well, just blocking, so the Zealots can't get on top of it. But this is so much Protoss, a lot of stacked Zerg units in the back, and it looks like Tech may have broken his way through. and all of the units from Machine have gone. Machine plummeting in supply. There's actually a big swell of Lings coming in from behind. But against this many Dragoons without crack upgrade, they're not going to do too much. The Nidus going to go down. The 4th base going down as well. And you can see Machine immediately pulling back. He knows he can't break that. Now, we did have an Overlord. I'm not sure if it tried to fly in with a Lurker drop or something. But if it did, I miss it. Okay, Dragoon and Lurker have the same range. Thank you for pointing that out. I could never work it out because I couldn't figure out if it was just Dragoons being dumb. But here we go, Tech pushing in once again. Nice Storm on top of all of those things, really softening them up before they get on top of the Hydras. Another great Storm on top of the Lurkers. And this could be too much for Machine to handle. Tech has got such a big army. He's pushing in from the front here, and there's just not really that many units back here to defend. Machine has been spending a lot of his lava on these Lings that haven't done anything, and the Lurkers at the back trying to hold on, but just not able to do it. The Sunken is going to go down, the Evolution Chamber going to go down as well. The final 2 Lurkers up here, I think he sniped the Observer, yes he did. But with the Storm here, he's going to clean up one of the Lurkers, going to take down at least one of these hatcheries. Oh, but that's a really, really good move. Getting that Dark Swarm in, not actually going to save the Defiler, there we go. And these Lurkers finally going to be able to move up. All of the Zealots have actually gone down. It looks like he's not been remaxing with Zealots either. And this means the Swarm will allow him to hold on for now. And now one thing I'm quite happy about with this game, Tech's doing a little bit better than he has been, showing a bit more of what made watching him so special in round 1. And one thing I do need to start getting on top of is getting interviews from man of the matches, because I really want to learn a little bit more about the players. It's just kind of hard to organize. So for round 3, that's going to be one of my priorities. Make sure I get that every single week for every team that wins, and then hopefully people will get more attached to the players, much like I kind of have, because of course I've seen every single game that's been played in the STPL, and that will continue on until the very end of the tournament, I would imagine, unless something happens to me, but hopefully it doesn't. And here we go, Tech actually taking his 4th base. I actually showed this before but didn't pay much attention to it. It's going to be the 4th base up now for Tech. Machine is going to be so far behind. Now it looks like Adrenaline should be done for these Lings by this point. The Lurker's trying to move in. There's a lot of cannons though, but Dark Swarm against cannons does an incredibly good job now. Somehow this Defiler took a lot of damage, and here we go, the Cracklings are done. They are doing so much damage to absolutely everything. Let's zoom out just a little bit to try and catch everything in on the screen. A nice Storm getting the Lurkers from behind, and it looks like the meager force of Machine has been cleaned up. Actually storming his own units there. The Defiler's going to try and run away, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to save his units. He doesn't have a 4th base yet. Looks like he's trying to get ready for one. But with all of these units... Wow, did he consume his own Defiler to keep this alive? I think he did. Yeah, you can see the dead Defiler there, but... Of course, Defiler's completely oblivious to damage on the Dark Swarm from Dragoon shots, so... That's going to stay alive until the Dark Swarm wears out. Now, Tech is actually sending a lot of probes over. He's mined out of his main, mined out of his natural. Now, this does mean he's only realistically on 2 bases. And now a Dragoon actually getting caught off guard there, but it's not really enough for a Machine. He can't afford to send too many units in to die. Now it looks like Tech did try and sneak a base down here in the bottom right. Didn't do too much. We do have another Defiler, another lot of Lings. Now, without Zealots here, these Cracklings could do a lot under this Swarm. But of course the Swarm does need to go up before Storm. Well, Storm is still going to do damage, and there we go. An incredible Storm from this High Templar. 14 kills on that guy. What a hero. And it looks like he's still trying to push through. He wants to break this base. He's scouted the top middle, but this is the base he's chosen to attack. A nice Storm once again, keeping the units out the front of that Storm. And Archon's coming in from behind to help seal the deal. Now these Zealots, of course, going to do full damage under the Swarm. The Hydras not going to be able to attack the Zealots. Kind of ironic here. The Swarm hurting the Zerg more than it is helping. And this Defiler's still going to survive, at least for now. That's going to go down along with the remnants of Machine's army. And once again, Machine in a terrible spot. GG! Tech is going to take down Machine in this first game of our series. Now, that was a pretty cool game for Tech. Machine did his best as well, but unfortunately Tech just did a little bit better. Machine with a questionable decision in the beginning of the game there to break his contain. He was up 2 bases and he decided to try and push in when he didn't need to. I think he got a little bit overeager. It is easy to do though, I can't fault him for that. That certainly happens to me in games where I think, oh, I can win now. It happened in an hour-long TBT to me yesterday, so I know exactly how he feels. But great game by Tech there, and that's going to head us over to the second game of the series. So I'm going to head it over to the intro while I load up the next replay. And